Anything you see to the right henceforth is relating to trust, either that be the express trust or the 508. Advantages of incorporation, corresponding provision in a trust. They're making comparisons. With the LLCs, aka public entity, continued existence, perpetual or a certain number of years. And you and I already know that the continued existence of the LLC, S Corp, or C Corp is contingent upon franchise tax and a constant submission of the status of the corporation itself. That is the portion that is not explained or put in black and white for you over here. But you know that, and I know that, by operation of how incorporated entities work. And then back then when this book was written, they probably didn't even pay franchise taxes. But guess what? Now they do. So now anything relating to incorporation, the restrictions get stronger and tighter because the economy is getting messed up and more messed up. And if in business, making money is part of the goal, then know that the people that you're going to as sharecroppers, called a Secretary of State, has to make money also. With quantitative easing and fractional reserve banking, they have to create new ways to take money from people because the worth of whatever it is that they're doing is decreasing. So now they take you, they want to incorporate your entity and your business affairs with them, they make you pay for it. No different than an employer will make an employee pay for their taxes. Uh-oh. Did we just say that? Yep, we did. I think all franchise taxes that you pay for your LLC, you're paying the state's taxes to the federal level. But shh, don't tell anyone we had this conversation. But that's the reality of it. Advantage of incorporation, continued existence under the condition that you pay the monies in today's world. Corresponding provision in the trust agreement. When it comes to the perpetuity, the trust continues for 20 years after the death of the last surviving original subscriber. Meaning so long as anyone in the party is alive, the trust remains. Some people loosely refer to this as an inter vivos trust, aka a living trust. We've went over that and the different types of trust that exist in this video. Compared to an express trust. So the premise and the foundation of the different types of trust and its use and the details all to already be in your mind as you're listening to this. Otherwise, you might get confused. That's why these videos, as I always say, they are being done in very, very specific and systematic increment so that you get premise and clarity on basics first before we go into these things. This prevents the violation of the rule against perpetuities. The agreement provides that the death of a shareholder merely entitles his legal representatives to a new certificate. Trust certificate unit is how you delineate things, whether through the task, aka the position that's to be satisfied through the trust, or through the monetary value of whatever the asset of the trust holds. The shareholders, the equivalence of this would be the members, whether you hold 50% or 20% in LLCs. But in this case, this will be the trust members, have no right to call for partition or division of the property. Why? Because they have to. An implied contract, meaning when you engage in trust issue, contract issue is automatically at play, meaning no one else can come and dabble in your affairs unless they have contract with you. Don't all these people say, hey, do I have a contract with you? And a contract with you to do this and do that? Tell me, are those people who are doing all those talking, are they using trust? Sure, they're not. And the only contractual term that exists is the one that they entered into, either through loan or whatever it is that they're doing. So now you see if you enter into a loan using trust, that power to rescind according to 15 USC 1605 and 15 USC 1635, when it comes to consumer transaction, whether it be loans and things like that, a 3-day period to rescind your signature, it's based on trust. But anyway, whether there is an individual liability for tort and implied contract is apparently undecided at this writing, October 1911. If there is no possibility of tort when it comes to contractual agreements and trust, when it comes to third parties stepping into it, they wouldn't have even entertained this issue at all. But they're saying, wait, we're not going to say it exists or not, but we're just going to leave it be. Because so far, that issue hasn't came up. But there's a fine possibility. But when it comes to LLCs, it's restricted. Sell, meaning you can sell it. Cool, not a problem. Or otherwise. This otherwise is based in state legislature. Because remember, the existence of LLCs is restricted and established by way of the language of legislature. And when legislatures refer to 508s or other types of trust on the other end, they don't restrict it. In fact, they affirm the fact that they cannot restrict it. Whereas LLCs, for instance, at Illinois, the act for LLCs is the Limited Liability Company Act, which is an 805 ILCS 180. Isn't that interesting? That same 805 is the same one where the 508 entity is. See how these people do these things? They even make it easier for you so you don't have to look too far. But anyway, when it comes to disbursement of interest, you can do it by will, which is public, and it is under the scrutiny of probate, as was shown in this video. You can sell it, or you can do other things, and this otherwise is based on limitation of language of the legislature. With trust, on the other hand, the trustee issues certificate for the number of shares to which each is entitled. Now imagine you're doing infinite banking with trust and a birth certificate. You'll be issuing trust certificate units. These certificates have a par value, entitle the holder to one, including this one, that Express Trust is the holding company. Isn't it beautifully amazing that during the 6th point where they make mention of LLC's capacity to be a holding company, they go to the right and start making reference to what a trust can do when it comes to holding. And guess what they describe as capacity to hold? They literally define an express trust for you by saying the power of such an organization, and they use the qualifying term may because they know it's based on your competency of how you structure your trust, which are the details of what we go over, to which it's always been kept silent by everyone who know about it. As I always say, information is your birthright. You should know about it. It does me no good if I know it and just keep it to myself. That's boring. In fact, I know that the more people know about this, the better it is for me. Because now if you know about it, might not be today, might not be next year, but somewhere down, this world is a big place. And this thing called business and pen and paper directly links to your functional activity in life and should not be controlled by other people, such as LLC, C Corps, and S Corp. You really want to be free, right? Think that way. Be that way. So much so that there's a structure in pen and paper that allows you to do that because they cannot stop you from doing so. All these things that we spent the time to read merely affirms that. Even though I don't think it's necessary for us to read this for us to come to such a conclusion, but nonetheless, they're different learners. And sometimes you just have to remind people. You have to remind people that they're capable of doing certain things for them to really get it. That is just the 7th page. And this book has 40 pages, on the PDF at least. And then it goes about how the complete 26-minute video, the 3rd part of this video series regarding Express Trust, Massachusetts Trust, and LLCs and public entities is on the patron page. As always, no one owes you time, no one owes you energy, and no one owes you explanation of anything. If you think these previews are insufficient, then that is a call for action on your end to read the words that's shown to you here in this same preview and go do your own research. Until next time, take care. Really, best of luck.